Hi everyone, this is the Encyclopedia channel, and in this episode we're going to talk about the First World War, one of the most influential and bloody conflicts of the 20th century, which took place between 1914 and 1918 and involved multiple national and intercontinental forces. So, what was the real World War I like? After watching this film, you can get a detailed understanding of the First World War, including the background and reasons for the outbreak of the war, the countries participating in the war process, new war technologies, the impact of the war, and the peace negotiations after the war. Background of World War I. The early 20th century saw rising tensions among the European powers. The expansion of imperialism and the scramble for colonies have led to confrontation and contradictions between countries. An arms race in many countries has also heightened tensions. In addition, the alliance system of various countries has further exacerbated tensions between regions. Causes of war. First of all, the complexity of the international political situation was one of the important reasons leading to the outbreak of the First World War. At the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, there were complex alliance systems and confrontational relationships among European countries. The main power blocs included the Triple Alliance of the German Empire, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, and the Entente powers of France, Russia, and Great Britain. This balance of power pattern has led to a tense arms race and mutual suspicion, making it easy for conflicts to spread throughout the European continent. Second, the wave of nationalism and imperialism was also one of the reasons for the outbreak of the war. At the end of the 19th century, nationalist sentiments in European countries were on the rise, and various ethnic groups pursued independence and national unity. This has led to a series of contradictions and conflicts, such as ethnic disputes in the Balkans. At the same time, the expansion of imperialist power has also intensified the competition for colonies and resources among countries, further aggravating the tension. In addition, the development of military plans and strategies also provided the catalyst for the outbreak of war. Various countries have formulated military plans one after another, the most famous of which is Germany's Scharif Plan, which aims to attack France quickly and then turn to the Eastern Front to deal with Russia. Such a plan has intensified military confrontation among countries, and once a conflict breaks out, it will be difficult to control and contain it. Finally, an important reason that led to the outbreak of the First World War was the occurrence of the fuse event. On June 28, 1914, the Crown Prince of Austria-Hungary, Franz Ferdinand, was assassinated by Serbian nationalists in Sarajevo, Bosnia, sparking a series of diplomatic disputes. Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, followed by a chain reaction of alliance treaties and military actions between the nations. In general, the reasons for the outbreak of the First World War are many. The complexity of the international political situation, the conflict of nationalism and imperialism, the formulation of military plans and strategies, and the occurrence of fuse events, these factors are intertwined and interacted, and finally led to the outbreak of war. In addition to the above reasons, there are some other factors that also contributed to the outbreak of World War I. For example, popular romanticization and idealization of war lead many to have positive attitudes towards war and to support state involvement in conflict. Media propaganda also played a role in fueling the flames, stirring up patriotism and support for the war among the populace. In addition, advances in technology have also allowed for the scale and brutality of warfare. The development of industrialization has brought large-scale production capacity and rapid development of military equipment, such as the emergence of new weapons such as artillery, machine guns, and poison gas, making wars more deadly and destructive. Finally, the failure of diplomacy and the lack of effective crisis management are also important factors in the outbreak of war. When countries deal with conflicts and crises, they lack effective diplomatic means and consultation mechanisms, which leads to the gradual escalation of tensions and eventually the outbreak of war cannot be avoided. Many countries were involved in the First World War. The main participating countries include the following. Entente consists of France, Great Britain, Russia, later replaced by the Soviet Union, Italy, Japan, etc. Allies, consisting of Germany, Austria-Hungary, Turkey, and Bulgaria. In addition, countries such as the United States, Canada, Australia, and South Africa also joined the Allies in the latter part of the war. War progress. 1914. War broke out on June 28, 1914, with the assassination of Austria-Hungary Crown Prince Ferdinand by Serbian nationalists. This event led to Austria-Hungary declaring war on Serbia, which soon turned into a large-scale conflict across Europe. Germany supported Austria-Hungary under the Treaty of Alliance, declared war on Russia, and invaded Belgium, Luxembourg, and France. France and Great Britain joined the war as the Allied powers, and the front soon expanded to the Western and Eastern fronts. Trench warfare. In the early days of the war, all countries were full of confidence in victory and expected to achieve a decisive victory in a short period of time. However, the new weapons and tactics of modern warfare have plunged the war into a protracted phase of trench warfare. The two sides dug trenches on the front, forming a positional battle. The flanking, bombing, and assassination operations between the trenches resulted in heavy casualties, but there was no apparent advance of the front. New technologies of warfare. World War I saw the application of many new technologies of warfare that had a profound impact on the nature and scale of warfare. For example, industrialized production made it possible to supply large-scale weapons and ammunition, and the emergence of new weapons such as artillery, machine guns, and poison gas changed the pattern of the battlefield. At the same time, the use of new military equipment such as aircraft, submarines, and tanks has also brought a whole new dimension to warfare. The war expands. Over time, more countries join the war. Countries such as Japan, Italy, and the United States entered the war one after another, expanding the battlefield to a global scale. The war was not only fought on the European continent, but also extended to Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. U.S. involvement. In 1917, German submarine warfare sparked U.S. displeasure, eventually prompting the U.S. to declare war on Germany. The intervention of the United States strengthened the combat power of the Allies, Britain, France, etc., and had a major impact on the war situation. The end of the war. In the final year of the war, the Allies launched a massive offensive on the Western Front, overwhelming the Germans. Germany faced military and economic difficulties, as well as serious internal social unrest. On November 11, 1918, Germany and the Allies signed an armistice, officially ending World War I. Effects of the war. Casualties. World War I resulted in a large number of casualties. It is estimated that more than 10 million people were killed, including soldiers and civilians. The human toll and suffering caused by war has a profound impact on entire societies. Economic devastation. Wars wreak havoc on the economies of participating countries. Productivity has been severely affected, with factories, farmland, and infrastructure destroyed. The deployment of resources and borrowing during the war also led to fiscal crises and inflation in many countries. Social changes. Wars triggered many social changes. Women took on many traditionally men's jobs during the war, fueling the rise of the women's liberation movement. In addition, the war also exacerbated the division and conflict of social classes, triggering resistance and protests of workers and peasants. Changed geopolitical landscape. World War I had a huge impact on the geopolitical landscape of the world. The dissolution of the Austro-Hungarian, Russian, and Ottoman empires led to political reorganization in the Middle East, Eastern Europe, and the Balkans. The independence of the new country and the adjustment of borders became important issues in the peace negotiations. Peace negotiations and treaties. After the war, the international community settled post-war affairs through a series of peace negotiations and treaties. The most important peace conference is the Paris Peace Conference held in Paris, France. Here are a few important peace treaties. Treaty of Versailles. In 1919, the Treaty of Versailles was signed as a peace agreement between the Entente and Germany. The treaty imposed severe penalties and restrictions on Germany, including reducing the size of the army, paying huge reparations, and ceding territories. These harsh conditions brought huge economic burdens and social unrest to Germany, paving the way for World War II. Peace Treaty of Saint-Germain. In 1920, the Peace Treaty of Saint-Germain was signed, ending the conflict between Italy and the Entente. Under the treaty, Italy ceded territories to France, South Tyrol and Istria to Yugoslavia, and recognized other territorial changes. Peace Treaty of Saint-Germain. In 1920, the Peace Treaty of St. Gilmain was signed, ending the conflict between Austria-Hungary and the Entente. According to the treaty, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was disintegrated and new independent countries were formed, including Austria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia. St. Groll Peace Treaty. In 1920, the St. Groll Peace Treaty was signed, ending the conflict between Bulgaria and the Entente. According to the treaty, Bulgaria ceded territory to Greece, Romania, and Yugoslavia, and paid huge reparations. These peace treaties attempted to ensure post-war stability by drawing new borders and rebalancing power. However, there were also some problems and inequities in these treaties, which caused dissatisfaction and subsequent conflicts in some countries. World War I had a profound impact on the world. It ended the domination of many European empires, redrew borders, and gave rise to new states and political systems. The war also changed people's perception of war, inspiring the pursuit of peace, cooperation, and international organization. However, World War I also left many painful legacies. Numerous casualties and destruction have had a huge impact on the economy and society. New types of weapons and tactics used in warfare had a profound impact on the nature of warfare and set the stage for future conflicts. In addition, World War I intensified nationalism and ethnic disputes and planted the seeds for the outbreak of World War II. Disappointment and dissatisfaction in peace negotiations and protests against unjust treaties have bred domestic instability and extremism in many countries. The severe punishment of Germany led to economic collapse and social unrest in Germany, creating the conditions for the rise of the Nazi Party. Overall, the impact of World War I was far-reaching and complex. It has completely changed the world order, triggering major social, political, and economic transformations. The pain and lessons of war also provide important lessons for future peace efforts and international cooperation. Yet it also warns us of the dire consequences of war, emphasizing the importance of peace, cooperation, and international institutions to ensure that humanity can escape the misery of war and work together to build a more peaceful and prosperous world. What is your opinion on this? Welcome to leave a message to discuss with everyone. Hey, if you like our channel, please subscribe us. Haha, remember to like it.